What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another new episode of Behind the Scene Podcast. And for this episode, we will be reviewing King Spawn #1 by Image Comics, written by Todd McFarlane and Sean Lewis, with art by Javi Fernandez. So, a little quick backstory on me as a Spawn fan. I'm a very casual Spawn fan. I was one of those kids who grew up in the 90s collecting comics, always saw Spawn, but never really picked up one of his issues, but always looked at the covers and thought they were very interesting. Of course, I watched the movies with Michael J. White starring in them. I got a little bit of a little brief introduction with the phenomenal HBO Max series, which has aged very well since it was created. And just over the years, just really observed them from the outside looking in and acknowledged that, hey, this is a cool character, and Spawn is one of the realest, I guess, indie characters to ever really come out and get this mainstream success that it has. So I'm one of those guys who has not really been in tune with the comic books for the last 30 years. And in 2020, I bought Spawn #300 and I bought Spawn Universe. And to tell you the truth, with those titles, as great as the artwork is and the style and the shading and inking and coloring and the mood and the tones, those books to me I could not finish them. I could not finish reading a Spawn comic, and that seems to be a little bit of the, I guess, negative aspects of the Spawn series, is that they have great visuals, but quality of the writing is kind of iffy at times, and it's a little bit of a turnoff for those. The story is a little bit of a turnoff for those who are trying to just jump in, right? Only history I know of the character of Spawn is that basically Al Simmons is, I know his origin, and I know that eventually he beat the devil and God and became sort of just the ruler supreme of Earth. It's one of those crazy stories that always pops up in social media from time to time. So, long story short, I'm a very casual Spawn fan. So, why did I decide to pick up King Spawn? Well, one of the things I heard about it was that it was a great jumping on point for Spawn fans, or for newcomers. Anyone who was trying to get into Spawn, King Spawn #1 was a good jumping on point, and after reading this issue, I can wholeheartedly agree with that. I'm not very in tune with this comic history, so with this issue, it really takes it kind of more down to the core mechanics of very simplistic storytelling and just a core mechanics of the character work here. A mysterious, kick-ass, hidden figure character who's trying to do some good, will do any means to accomplish that good. And the quintessential anti-hero, right? So the story starts off with a very tragic event, and Spawn is looking for the person or the thing that caused the event. And it's a little bit of a dilemma where, is it supernatural based or is it human based? Is it just man just being unpredictable and being horrible, or is there a supernatural stake in what happened? And it's a little bit of a crime mystery aspect to it, where Spawn is trying to figure out what caused this tragic event and what's the true meaning behind it. And throughout the story, you get little bits and pieces of like little explanations of who the angels are, who some of the demons are, who are some of these characters that get like disguised as humans, but they're not humans. So it's a very nice, they broke it down to where someone who's someone who's not really familiar with the franchise at all can kind of just pick this one up and comprehend it and understand it and follow it from start to finish. So I actually read this from start to finish, and I actually would like to reread it again. Again, it borrows heavily a lot from Batman. I'm not gonna lie. One of the lines is pretty on the nose, where I think you get a fat cop. I'm not sure if they're previous characters or not, but you get like a fat cop and a Jim Gordon type detective looking at a crime scene, asking if what are we gonna do? We don't have a bat signal. You know what I'm saying? Like, a little bit too on the nose. That line kind of got me out of the comic a bit, because it does seem very Batman-ish, very like a little slower paced, and just very what is happening here? How are we going to figure this out? And there's nothing too outrageous or nothing too, I would say, confusing that's happening. So other than that line, I think the story is very well done. It's solid. It's very simple. And it ends in a way where, yes, I want to see the next issue. I want to see where this is going. And for me, this is the first time as a comic book fan I'm actually excited to read the next Spawn issue and actually want to get invested in the story, which is a first for me. Todd McFarlane having Sean Lewis write this is that was a good move on his part. The art is very, very well done. I like that it's not really trying to imitate Todd McFarlane's art style. It's going off its own thing, but it has a very nice, dramatic, cool visual, shadowy, dark tone that everyone, knows the Spawn comics are known for. So I have to give big ups to the artist Javi Fernandez, and this comic actually features about 3 backstories, and they're not too bad actually. They're okay. Some are a hit, some are a miss. I enjoyed the one that featured Haunt simply because that's a character that I saw in the $1 bin section of a comic shop, and I picked up a few titles. Visually, the character looks cool, so there was a little bit of a connection with that backstory. And then they saved pretty much the heavy hitter for last with Gunslinger Spawn as the last story, and kind of like a prelude to his solo series, which is coming out later on this year. So I would have to say King Spawn is a very pleasant surprise. Most Spawn books I just flip through to just look at the art, check it out, and be done with it. But this is actually a Spawn comic book where I actually want to read the story. I'm invested. I want to see more. And I can't follow Spawn, number 330, whatever that it's on right now. I can't follow the regular series, but this I can follow, and I hope that it continues till whenever. Definitely gonna get number 2, and I would definitely, if it can continue this kind of style of storytelling, very minimalized, very kind of just straight to the point. If it can continue this storyline and keep it simple, keep it sort of not grounded, but self-contained a bit, where I don't need to know 10 other characters, or I don't need to know such and such happened, but this potion and this spell and Spawn lost his powers in that issue. I like this straightforward, straight to the point, a small mystery / detective kind of feel, and a bigger threat looms in the future, looms in the shadows, and we don't know if Spawn is able to take on this challenge because they booked this villain as something stronger than what would challenge Spawn. So I have to give this comic, man, an 8 out of 10. I'd have to give this comic an 8 out of 10. Very solid read, especially for a Spawn book. You can't go wrong with the art. It's entertaining as a comic book. This is definitely the direction that anyone would want for a Spawn book who's a newcomer or even a hardcore fan would, I think, enjoy as well. So 8 out of 10. King Spawn number 1. Go cop it.